So you saw the title and the thumbnail to this video, so without wasting your time, let's get into it. But before I do, I have to say a special thanks to B&H Photo for sending this kit out to me for testing and review. Without them, this wouldn't have been possible, and I'm pretty dang sure that I'm going to keep this system in my workflow, so I'm going to pay and keep this because it's absolutely awesome and it works really well. So to get the boring stuff out of the way, I want to talk about like powering this system. So I'm going to move the SliderPLUS stuff over to this side and the HeadPLUS stuff over to this side. And we'll talk about power options that you can get with this system. First, I'm going to talk about continuous power. So you get two wall adapters. I'm only going to open one because they're exactly the same. And edelkrone is a Turkish-based company, so everything within this wall adapter is going to be appropriate for your region. So your region's plugs will be included in one of these. If you get this, you'll get two of them. And then the actual wall adapter itself. It looks like there's a wire clasp included, so you can put this as somewhere to kind of roll up your wire and keep it organized and without any tripping or anything like that. And they also include a Velcro strap. This is a class 2 adapter, 100 to 240 volt input, so it can handle anything in any of the regions around the world. And it has a 9 volt output. So these are exactly the same. For some reason, one came in a box and one came in some plastic. I went with Sony NPF style batteries to mount to this system. You can also go Canon batteries. I believe they're LP6 batteries. Let's take a look and see what's in this, because it sounds like there's some additional accessories to mount the system. You get the Allen key and the two mounting bolts. So let's get this out of the way and get into the SliderPLUS stuff. So the slider that I went with in this kit is this the compact one. It's 13 inches of travel, so it's really, really small and meant for travel. I've had sliders in the past around 25 inches, and those are just too long to put on tripods and travel with effectively. As you can see, edelkrone's packaging is very Apple-esque. And I've heard that in many videos that I've watched on this system, and you can see that it's true. All on this side is all this documentation and stuff. You see the slider itself, super, super compact, so short. I love that. You get a tool set, 2 Allen keys to make adjustments to this and set it up appropriately. It looks like all the snap-on belts that are magnetic are provided to you. So these belts are for you to take advantage of the slide module that I will be unboxing here next. You can see how small it is. For comparison's sake, I can take my Sony a7 III and you can see how short it is. It's half the distance exactly. That's awesome, because then when you put this on a tripod, you get double the distance of travel, so you effectively double your slide distance if you're using a tripod. And then if you are just have it set on a table like this, you can make slides. And I have a really small workspace, so this works really, really well. All right, on to the slide module. Let's get this thing out of the box. This is the motor that allows you to power the slides. There's some documentation as well that I will read and take note of later. You get some toolkit just like you did with the slider, and I believe you get some accessories as well. Packaged really, really well. If I was to rate their packaging, A+ for sure. It looks like you get a connection cable and 2 knobs to attach it to the slider system, because it goes on the end of a slider right here, so it powers the belt. Well, let's put this down and take the slide module out, take a closer look at it. It's pretty hefty. So that's another reason why I went with a shorter slider, because all in all, this system is going to weigh quite a bit. And if I want to put that on a tripod on the go, I want it to be the least amount of travel, so I don't have to worry about swaying and tilting and braking and stuff. So here is where you're going to connect the battery power thing to power this system. Next up in this unboxing is probably the most expensive piece of kit in it. It's the HeadPLUS. The HeadPLUS module allows you to get all of the motion control out of this system, or maximize the motion control out of this system. And here you can see there's quite a bit to this kit. There's a lot in there. So here's the manual. I'm going to put this down so you can look at what's in the box. You can see the HeadPLUS itself, the arm, and a toolkit. So this one's a little different. It comes in like an aluminum color. So we'll put that off to the side. We'll pull the arm out. So you have to balance your camera load on the HeadPLUS, which is a unique approach. Here you got 4 little rod knobs. I'm going to keep those placed in the box because I don't want them rolling around. And you got an accessory box on this side. Looks like it's just a data cable. One reason I didn't go with edelkrone's first version of the HeadPLUS is because it was too bulky and too hard to carry around. And this is probably the main selling feature for this whole system, is its ability to lay flat and be packed away easily and effectively. So you connect your camera on this end, and you connect the slider on this end, and this moves so you can tighten it on. It's really, really awesome. So this is just a quick overview of this, so let's put this off to the side for now. Next up is the laser module. This allows you to point a laser at certain assets and move them around and program it and have it replicate that shot over and over again perfectly. So this is something that I wanted because it's cool. But it's also very useful. So this connects to the HeadPLUS module in the designated port and allows you to take advantage of a laser module. So the SliderPLUS module is magnetized. So to attach it, edelkrone includes this little plate to attach to the HeadPLUS module arm, and you can connect it via this magnet, which is really, really tough. In the box, you get Velcro and the actual nut to attach it to the HeadPLUS module arm. It says, do not point it at your eyes. If you do that, I don't know about you. Last but not least is the focus module. And this allows you to take full control of everything of your camera system that is attached to this kit, focus and all. So in the focus module, you get a manual, you get a focus card, you get the focus module itself. This is attached to the HeadPLUS as well. You got 2 extension rods to attach it. You get lens gears. I didn't think they were included, but I am quickly learning to expect the best from edelkrone because their packaging and their included stuff is just gets you off and going really quickly. If you know what this is, leave me a comment down below. I'm not sure. I'm gonna get into the manual and make sure, but I'll probably know by the time I post this video, but right now this is caught me off guard a little bit. That, my friends, is everything that is included in the kit. A quick breakdown. I know I oversimplified everything, but I just wanted to share with you my unboxing experience because I am highly impressed. Let's get this thing put together and then I'll show you some sample footage to close this video out. So let's hop into some sample footage. Also a full build out of this system, and I'll show you and walk you around that here really quickly. The first time you put this thing together, it's going to be quite the endeavor for you because this system is quite complicated when you think about all the moving parts that you have to consider. The good thing about that though is that edelkrone has a vast library of video user manuals to show you how to set it up, maintain, and use all of their equipment. So if you get this system, I would recommend that you watch those thoroughly and pay attention to those. You don't even have to really read the manuals, but I would recommend that you do that as well. Because like any other system out there that has moving parts, you got to keep in mind the maintenance procedures and processes that will give you the best possible quality of product at the end of your shoots. So with all that said, at the end of it, I would say that this system takes about 30 to 45 seconds to set up from complete breakdown to getting up and running with your shoots. So I think I'm ready to share with you some first impressions of the edelkrone slider setup that you see here in this video, the HeadPLUS module and the new SliderPLUS version 2 module. It's all wirelessly connected between these two. Forget the wires that you see from the focus module and the laser module. But I want to say, before we move into this next part, they're more so recommendations to edelkrone if they see this video for improvement of the system, because I know that they look for this type of feedback from users of their product. The first thing that I think that they could do is provide us with some sort of locking mechanism to keep the HeadPLUS in place when you're transporting it in this fashion, because when you move it around, I have resorted to kind of just attaching a piece of Velcro here between the junction on the HeadPLUS module to one of the feet of the SliderPLUS. This is to keep the system from bouncing back and forth. And when you move your tripod, or if you're moving it if it's on the ground or whatever, there's no way to lock this in place. And that can, become problematic if it's swinging when it's powered off or whatnot. If there was some way to lock this in place like they've done with the lock button on the slider module, that would be awesome. And it would be a much improved element to this setup. Because, like I said, this thing moves around freely. You have to be very careful when you're moving it, because if you start adding weight and stuff to the top of this, for example, because there's two cold shoes on top of this, if you add, the Ninja V or the Ninja 5 on top of this with the battery and the cable and everything, this becomes quite heavy. And you just need to be very careful with that and cognizant of your system, because this does not lock in place. The second thing that I would recommend that edelkrone explore is giving us some sort of bubble level on each of the systems. So one for the slider and one for the HeadPLUS, because you don't necessarily even need the slider to run the HeadPLUS. But here I took my own bubble level and I took some Quake Hold and attached this bubble level to the slider so I know that it's level. That's just to lessen the strain on the motors and have a level system when I have it on a tripod. And even when I have it on the ground, I now have some sort of reference to know that it's level and it has my system in peak conditions when operating it. So ultimately, with my first impressions, I can't recommend this system enough. It is absolutely awesome. There are some things that I'm going to reserve for my final review or my full review of this system that I'm kind of having some difficulty with, but I'm working with edelkrone support in trying to identify the focus module's ability to use target mode in their app effectively with non-Cine, Cine lenses that don't have the gears on them and with hard stops. The Sigma 18-35 does have hard stops, but it's not as pronounced as would be on a Cine lens, where it actually stops at infinity and the macro. And I'm just working with them trying to figure out what's the issue with this, because the focus motor is extremely strong. It's difficult to get it to recognize when you're at macro and infinity utilizing the Sigma 18-35 motor. I went through a bunch of processes by which I was trying to get it to recognize those, but it's still just not there. And that's not to say that the system isn't working well. It's just more designed for Cine lenses in target mode. And I think they could do a little bit better job in trying to have the ability to focus lenses like this. I mean, the Sigma 18-35 is absolutely the YouTuber's lens per se. And I find that a lot of people could be using it. I mean, it is registered in their lens setup in the actual edelkrone app when you go to register a lens. I even went as far as to register my own with the MC11 because I wanted to make sure that it was doing it correctly. And I still haven't had success with that. That's not to say that they can't improve it through a firmware update or something. I mean, you can absolutely get some phenomenal B-roll quickly, and that's the key. It's super quick and it's super awesome. It's a little bit expensive. If you're interested in pricing and availability of this actual kit, it will be linked in the description. I will say with that, that is my affiliate link. So shopping through that will give me a little bit of kickback without costing you anything in addition to the purchase of your kit. And that helps me keep and maintain making content for you here on this channel. So with that being said, if you like this unboxing and first impressions of the edelkrone SliderPLUS V2 with a HeadPLUS module, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I'm Tomas, and I will catch you in the next one.